You better.
All right, you're unmuted.
Okay, thank you. Thanks, Matt. This shouldn't take us too long. First, I would like to welcome Walter. If you could unmute him, please, Matt, I would appreciate it. Walter is going to be joining us as a new member in January. He's just going to kind of hang out with us until then, and then start competing in January. Walter, you'd like to say hello and tell us about yourself?
I live in Stonebridge, so we're neighbors. Just a stone's throw. I was always interested in photography, and for a while I was a yearbook advisor in high schools. In the name of security, they really didn't like people running around buildings in New York City. So I kind of picked up a camera as the advisor and did all the candid work in the classrooms. And you really don't have time to develop good photography there because you're kind of in the way of what the classroom is supposed to be about. And that's where I got my impetus. When I moved to Stonebridge now 5 years ago, I used it as I joined the camera club here, photography club here, and didn't really get active till about 2 years because I felt I didn't have the skills to present my material without saying, oh, what a lovely snapshot, junk it. And now I feel I enjoy Stonebridge, but I also want to meet other people who are in photography and see different points of view, and that's why I'm joining.
Well, you came to the right place. Welcome. We're happy to have you, Phil. I don't see anybody else that I don't recognize. Is there anyone else on the phone like to say hi? I do see Bonnie. Bonnie's from the South Jersey Club. Hello, Bonnie. Bonnie Revere. She gave me a thumbs up. Anybody else like to say hi that might be new or just joining us? Okay. Couple of things, and some of these were covered in our last newsletter. Please let me know if you are interested in running for an officer position for next year. The current officers that we do have do plan to run again for their respective positions, but we can always use some competition. That would be very refreshing. Will has indicated that 2021 is going to be his last year as webmaster, so we're going to need someone to step up and take that over, and ideally shadow and learn from Will during 2021. Other non-officer positions, that is, webmaster is an officer position, some non-officer positions, we could really use someone to step up and take over membership management duties that are currently part of the treasurer's position. So that would include, but not be limited to, managing renewals, new members, welcoming and acclimating new people, helping with recruitment. And we do still badly need new members because we do need to, build our treasury to offset expenses. And if someone was interested in helping with publicity, which would be primarily making social media postings, sending press releases, that would be great. It is something that is time sensitive, so you would have to have enough time to be able to do things on deadlines. So if anyone's interested in any of those or interested in running for an officer position, please let me know. Let's see, Melinda, would you like to talk about PSA and the next competition? Deadline's coming up. Would you like to unmute Melinda? Matt, could you unmute Melinda?
Yeah, I had to find her name. She's.
Hold on, Melinda, we can't hear you.
I hit the button. She's got to accept.
There we go. Okay, we can hear you.
I don't know what the date is. I didn't have it.
November 1st.
November 1st. Okay, so that would be the second PSA round. I'm pretty sure Will has opened the website so that you can upload 6 images for the second round and the third as well. You don't have to wait till this round is over. Again, it's 6 images, and only levels 2, 3, and 4 can vote once the voting is open. That's it, I guess.
Terrific. All right. Will, would you like to update us on the web? And I know you want to talk about the 2021 topics. You could unmute Will.
Yeah, the 2021 competition themes are up on the website now. And there are also some tutorials on there that Terry D'Onofrio has researched. Thank you, Terry. The actual upload, like Melinda said, PSA uploads are enabled for the next 2 rounds, I believe. And we'll be putting in the competition, the CDCC competitions for next year, in the next month or so.
Okay. So you'll be able to upload even in advance if you want. Thanks, Will.
Not quite. We disable all the uploads until mid-January so that people renew their memberships first.
Ah, right. That's correct. Okay. Terrific. Anything else, Will?
I think that's it.
Thank you. Thanks very much. Valerie, would you like to talk about speakers and mention Mike Moats?
I may have to unmute Valerie. She should be able to do it
Can you hear
herself.
me?
Okay, we can hear you now, Val.
Yeah, we have the dates. We're finalizing maybe one last date, but otherwise, we have our dates for 2021, so I will be reaching out to them. I did send a email out to everybody. I hope you got it through a blast, where there was a offer for another presentation through our, I hate to say it, just another camera club. I don't want to say a sister club because they're not really, but it's another club that's that we're partnering with. It's not until 2021. It's February. I'm sorry, Lynn, I wasn't totally prepared. I didn't know you were calling me, so hold on. There it is. Okay. Nope, there we go. I just had to find it. The speaker is Mike Moats, and he's going to do a macro presentation on February the 27th, or sorry, February 17th at 2 p.m. It is in the afternoon, so you know, if you're working, you'll have to, you know, work that into your your calendar if you can. It is a Wednesday, and then they're also going to have some hunts deals that they're going to offer during that presentation. Hunts photo.
And I understand, I know Valerie or rather Vicky and some other folks have seen him speak before, and that he is very good. So I think we'll look forward to that, and thank River Point very much for inviting our club. All right, let's see, couple things. Oh, so November and December, we only have one meeting each month because of the Thanksgiving and then the Christmas and Hanukkah holidays in December. So there's no speakers as usual during November and December. The November 11th meeting, so that's only 2 weeks from now, is our next competition meeting, which is abstracts and patterns in nature. And then our only meeting in December is December 9th, and that competition is for silhouettes. And then just one other, oh, I've got to get you, Matt. Matt.
I was hoping you forgot me.
I don't know how I possibly could forget you. Go ahead, your turn.
All right, so we're having a gallery at the Monroe Library at the end of next year, November and December. The other thing we're going to do again next year is the Glennie competition. We're going to open that up, I guess, when Will opens up the rest of the competitions in January. And we will have a deadline that you have to upload your photos by February 16th. so that I can go through them and get them uploaded to the Glenny competition by the end of the month.
So, and we'll give you more information on that, I'm sure, as we get closer, but just a heads up to get your images ready. And actually, if you go back to the newsletter that we sent out, there was a lot more information about the Glenny in there.
And the biggest thing with Glenny is no hand of man in any of your images.
And we did pretty well last year, but we got tripped up by hybridized flowers. So no hand of man generally means most of the flowers in your garden, unless you're Kathy Titana and you grow wildflowers in your garden, native flowers. Generally, what you grow in your garden are hybridized, generally. So this is wildlife competition, nature competition. So they want it to be nature more than so your backyard. Unless, again, like Kathy, you happen to be lucky enough that you plant native species in your yard. Speaking of Kathy, congratulations to the following people who have been accepted into the Pennsylvania Center for Photography Transformations Contest and Exhibit. We're going to be quite well represented this year. Michael Podley, Kathy Titana, Linda Heath, Marianne Martin, John Aniano, and me, Debbie Aniano. So we're looking forward to that. See if we win anything, but it's a nice honor just to have been accepted. And I think Bonnie's on the line. I think Bonnie Revere, I think I also saw your name as well, didn't I, Bonnie? You want to give me another thumbs up if I'm right? All right. You're unmuted, Bonnie.
As soon as she accepts.
Okay.
She's not unmuted now.
Okay. Bonnie, you were also accepted into Transformations too, weren't you? Yes. Okay. She's not talking to us, but she's given us a thumbs up. Okay. Terrific.
I'll remute her.
Okay. Anything else? Are we ready to get started?
That's it. I'll just kill some videos and we'll be ready to get started.
Okay. And I will introduce our speaker, or not our speaker. Oh, poor Phil, you thought we had to talk, huh? Not our speaker, our judge for tonight. We've had Phil here before. This is Phil Echo, and he is actually a oral and I don't know if I know how to say this, maxillofacial surgeon in Nutley, New Jersey. He was previously associated with the Cameron Naturals Club and Tri-County Camera Clubs. He's a member of the North Jersey Nature Photographers Association, a judge and lecturer for both New York and New Jersey Federations of Camera Clubs, for schools, the Audubon Society, and various other organizations. He's won numerous medals in the New Jersey Federation of Camera Clubs, pictorial, nature, and contemporary competitions. He's a multiple winner of the NJFCC Tops in New Jersey Nature and Pictorial Awards. He's won medals in the PSA International competitions. He's a 3-time winner of the PSA Nature Slide of the Year Award. And in 2008, he was presented with their Citation of Honor. He's been in multiple, his photos have been in multiple conservation magazines, the Potomac Museum, Wild Bird Centers of America, and other nature organizations. And he is the owner and chief tour leader for Echo Filmworks, LLC, which does photo tours. So eminently qualified to judge our competition tonight, which is about wildlife. So welcome to Phil.
Thank you, everybody, for having me.
It's good to have you back.
All right. You know, I'd like to try, I'm looking at this on a small laptop. I'm hooked up to a big monitor. I think if I close my display, it'll project on my big monitor, but you'll lose being able to see my face, which will make most of you happy. Let me try it. If anything happens, I'll just sign back in, okay?
Okay.
Let's see. Can you hear me?
Yep.
You're muted a little bit, but we can hear you.
It's working on my end as long as you can hear me. Is that going to work for everybody or no?
Yeah, I think.
yeah.
Yeah, you'll just have to be loud.
That's my specialty.
Okay.
Excellent. All right, let's see. We have 4 groups. Our first group has no images, so we'll start with group 2. There's 16 images in group 2, so we're going to have a first, second, third place, and 3 honorable mentions.
Okay, now in the instructions I got, you guys do allow hand of man. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay.
And here we go.
Come with me now.
And starting with your beginner group, right?
Yeah.
Second group.
Second group. Okay. All right, I think this has a very nice storytelling capability to this image. I like the interaction between the 2 subjects. You are shooting down, which usually lends a little less significance to this subject. I understand that you're shooting out of a vehicle and you're kind of stuck. They're close to the vehicle, but nonetheless, you know, it still changes the overall perspective in a competition. I think your background works very nicely with your subject. I do feel, though, that your image is not optimized as far as exposure goes through your lighter tones. Your darker tones are exposed well. Your lighter tones are a little on the bright side. I'd love to see you select them and tone down them a little bit. I think it would, you know, give a little more presence to the hyena. I would tone down that rock in this top left corner. You may want to tone down a little bit of the hyena up in this area. But if the rock was a little darker, you know, this dark wouldn't overlap. This dark down here would not overlap that. And I think that the hyena would stand out a whole lot better. Now, do your 7s get in the water? They're just a 7. Or you're only looking for the top 3 or 4, right?
Yeah, we're going to get a first, second, and third, and 3 HMs. So
7.
a 7 could be an HM.
It could be only if all right, but it doesn't have to be, right? Depends on the
Exactly.
7.
This is a long way up.
On my larger monitor, this is running off the monitor. Is this running off of your screen too?
Yeah, it is.
It is. Okay. Does it also look, I just want to make sure as we start that things are looking proper. This also looks extremely pixelated. Does it look that way to you guys too, or should I switch monitors?
Matt, what's going on with that? Can you tell? Oh, there. Okay, I see the bottom.
It looks pixelated, but I can see the bottom.
All right, so let me flip over this.
Look at the frame around it.
Oh, yeah, we can see the bottom. There is a frame around it on the bottom.
All right, well, I just flipped to my smaller monitor and I still cannot see the bottom.
There's a
Yeah,
white
I think it's cut off at the legs. It looks like he's standing on a platform or something. And then there is a white border around the bottom.
All right.
But it is.
For some reason, I'm not seeing the whole image, but I did on the last image. I am cutting off where the knee would be on a human.
that's where it is.
That's
That's
where
the way
it
the
is?
image
Yeah.
is.
Yes.
All right, that would actually be the ankle on a bird, but
Can you
Yeah,
go up to the top to view options and then say fit to window?
up to the top, you see view.
and then click on a little down arrow.
View says manage, show chat.
Right here is the bottom of the image.
I can't see what you're showing me.
So
Yeah.
Window.
yes, it says zoom ratio and then fit to window.
I'm not getting.
At the very top of the screen where it says,
I'm at the very top for Zoom.
okay, and it says you're viewing Matt Rink's screen.
No,
Can
it
you
does
see
not.
that?
It does not.
Okay.
Hey, listen,
Hold on, press your escape key.
Okay, and the overall window became, now it says I'm viewing Matthew Rank's screen, but I'm still missing the bottom of the bird, so.
Yeah, hold on, we'll get to that. You're gonna miss the bottom of the bird. Go to view options again, or right next to Matthew's screen, view options.
Okay.
And then zoom ratio should be the next option. The first one at the top.
And fit to window.
Fit the window, exactly.
That is what is checked.
Okay.
You know what? Maybe I'm losing it because I've got this bar at the bottom where it allows me to leave, share screen, chat, participants.
It shouldn't, but the bird doesn't have feet if you're looking for feet.
Yeah, but I can see the white border going all the way around, but not on the bottom. So
Okay.
we're missing part of the image.
Yeah, it must be your bottom, whatever you have on the bottom then.
All right. Let's see if it shows up on the next one. I'm going to score this as if I could see the bottom, so it doesn't matter to the maker. I think your angle of view is pleasing. You're shooting up a little bit, but it's not too much that I find troublesome. You have a nice clean background, which brings attention directly to the bird. There is an odd-looking halo along the side of the bird. If you try to get up again, I get those annotates arrow. If you look along the edge, there's something odd going on with the edge of the bird on that side as well as that side. If it's a matter of you darken the sky, you have to make sure you select more of the sky, a little bit wider, to make it so you don't have that halo around it. This bird has very poor detail in its feather presentation, and I don't know if that's a matter of zooming in too much with a heavy crop or using too high an ISO. I'd say it's more of a crop problem, most likely. So I would be careful with that also. 6.
Seagull, UK.
All right, I don't score on titles. I don't believe your title's correct, but I don't score on titles. You've got very nice light on your subject. Your subject stands out nicely in the frame. I like its positioning in the frame. I think the background is taking over a lot of attention. Let me ask you, most clubs that allow hand-to-man want the hand-to-man to be on the very not so noticeable side, or minuscule in the frame. Do you guys go by that ruling or no?
That's up to you, Phil, how you want to judge it as an image. We just did not make a rule or did not publish a rule that said that we were going to judge by the rule of hand-to-man.
Right, so then in all fairness,
it's up to you. Just no domestic animals and no hand-to-man.
All right, in all fairness to the maker, then I'll take that thought process out of my scoring. I do think, though, that the background has a lot of things going on that takes attention away from the bird. What's up here in the top left is almost the same pattern and color tone as the bird, and I just think it competes a lot. You've got the rope on this side right behind the head of the bird, which also is taking a lot of attention away. 6.
Yellow-crowned night heron wingspan.
There's a lot of things about this image that I think add a tremendous amount of strength to it. Your lighting is exquisite. I think you've done a very nice job with your exposure. I would argue that the bird is a little bit on the bright side, not enough for me to take any points off for. The coloration of the bird. You depress the shutter at an absolutely perfect moment in time. Your choice of shutter speed is great. I like the separation between the head of the bird and the tree, part of the tree that's right here. Your background is very simple and it really makes the attention stay on the bird itself. 9.
What you looking at?
As an environmental shot, I think we've add to the skittish nature of these subjects in the daylight by shooting it through the trees the way you've elected to do. Um, One of the difficulties in photographing in forested areas is how the light falls off from certain areas that are in more direct sunlight than things that are not in direct sunlight. And I feel that as a picture of this deer, some more light in the face would be helpful because the body illuminates very well. And I keep looking at the body and I don't feel that that's the main point of interest of this image. We can't tell where this eye over here separates from the fur. Same thing in the nose, with the mouth and the fur adjacent to it. I would consider a little fill flash. That would be very helpful if you have a teleextender. Flash not on full power, otherwise you'll make this look flashed. But what I would recommend is TTL and flash on -1 1/3. The best way to do that is in the camera itself. For this color animal, -1 1/3. If it was a white bird, it would be -1 2/3. If it was a black subject, it would be more like -1 to -2/3. 6.
Wish I was a prince.
I like the way the frog stands out in its environment. I think that tells a very nice story. Your angle of view brings me into the world of the frog, and I think it works very nicely. I like the odd pad that's rolled up right over here. It looks great. I have to ask you though, you've got this image where you've done so many great things about it. We've got this big out of focus, I assume a leaf or another lily pad or something that's in the foreground. It's on the same side as the frame as your two main subjects will be the frog and that pad. Could you have taken a couple of steps to the left and eliminated that? As it is, I find it a significant enough obstacle that it's going to hurt a little bit in my overall score. I'd also be careful with color cast. I think we have a little bit of a blue color cast in this image. So, with your tint and your balance, I would just adjust that a little bit. 7.
What? I'm hungry.
Yeah, I'm losing the bottom of the image again. I wonder why some of them do it and some of them don't. We have a very nice camera angle. You've again taken me into the world of your subject. On such a sunny day, it makes for a fair amount of contrast in the image, but I still think your subject stands out pretty nicely. The problem with the angle of the light is it's hard to even tell the story that's going on here. And the story is that, this guy looks like eating part of this flower. The hands up, well, not really a hand, but the hands up. You can't even tell at first because of the amount of light that falls off. So again, this is something where I think some dodging and burning, if not, some fill flash would be of benefit. With the fill flash, you've got a yellow flower, so you got to make sure you got to treat that at -1 2/3. It's very bright. 6.
Move over. I've got lunch.
Compositionally, I think this is very nicely handled. I like the angle, the action. I like the interplay between the two birds. That's very much how things happen. I will say that you've done something really freaky with your background. Um, things like right over here, you could see the lighter sky that was there. You've got this blotchiness on this side. You've got this strokiness on this side, and follow it throughout. So you don't have great detail in your subject either. You got a straight line up here. So somewhere in the processing, I think we've taken an image that has a lot of strength and denied it from some of that overall presentation strength. If you're going to change the background, make sure you get into corners. Look over here in the leaves. 6.
Afternoon stroll.
Did I just say leaves? I didn't mean leaves. I meant the wing to the feathers. You have a very nice leading line through this. Follow the leading line. I think it looks really well. I like the position of the lines. You've got a little anchor point on the left with this little vegetation. I think that works very nicely. I would say in your overall processing, you can make this look a little bit better because I do like your composition. I would ask myself a couple of things. One, has anybody looked at that? If you've looked at that, should you look at that? Because everything is so clean everywhere else. I would clone that out. If I was photographing with Lou, I'd send Lou out there with some scissors like Vicky does, and he would just cut that out right on the spot. I do think you can add a little bit more warmth to the image in your post-processing and make it look not quite as harsh in sunlight. 8.
Little bee, big flower.
I like very much how you've cropped the image. You have a background that is out of focus and doesn't really detract attention, except for the fact is, where is your most vibrant color in this image? In that green in the background. So my eye goes there very readily. Do you want it to go there? So I would, in Vivesa, whatever you like to use, I would get that green and just desaturate it, take the vibrancy away a little bit. And then I would say, well, how about the bee and the purple flower? They're a little flat in presentation. I would like to see you add some more life to them by adding a little more vibrancy to those colors. We don't have a lot in focus. We've got part of the back of the bee. You're losing the upper part of the thorax and the head. I don't care about the motion blur in the wings. That adds to the nature story. So we're also looking at the back side of the bee. The flower, there's almost nothing on the flower that's in focus except for this one little point over here. And I don't get a strong interaction between the bee and that point. So I like what you're doing. I think it's a very strong attempt. I think it falls a little bit short overall. 7. Correct me if I'm wrong. In a nature competition, you're allowing certain things that are hand to man, like, piling, a tag, this is something small in the background. But to take an overall image and put a layer effect on it that makes it look like a painting, for me, puts it into a pictorial competition out of a nature competition. The powers that be, do you disagree with that in your club rules, or are we correct with that? Can anybody? I can't hear anybody. Hello?
I hear you. I'm waiting for Matt or Debbie to chime in.
Oh, okay.
Hold on. Debbie muted herself, and she can't unmute herself.
I'm sorry. I understand what you're saying, Phil, but we did not give anyone those rules. And, I know you're used to regular wildlife
Well,
photography,
yeah,
but
it's not regular wildlife, but I think
right,
we've
I think we
taken
just
this
need to
to
be
another
very,
level by now, computer manipulating the image to make it look.
right.
Yeah, there's no rules against that because it's not exactly a nature competition. It's just the topic is wildlife, but it's not a nature competition.
Okay. I like your overall effect. Your use of a vignette brings my attention into your subject. Your angle of view is great. I think it has a strong story. Make sure you all understand that I realize that this doesn't have a true nature look to it, and we're not judging on that, so be it. The one thing I would say about the image, though, is that the subject looks sort of lifeless with the loss of any light in the eyes whatsoever. The eyes themselves don't separate from the eyelids around it, the eye rims, whatever you would call it. Perhaps a catch light would be helpful. So it kind of almost looks like a zombie type appearance. 8. Little fill flash would take care of that in a heartbeat. Little catch light.
Wood stork with nesting material.
I think you've done a very nice job on wing position the frame, balancing a difficult exposure. You've got the white on the back of the neck, and then you've got, very dark on the surface of the dark feathers. And I think the maker has done a very good job with a very difficult lighting scenario with the angle that light's coming. Simple, tells a good story. I like its position in the frame. For this group, we're going to go with a 9.
Kiss me again, babe.
Some of the things I like about this image is I like how you've composed it. I like how you've gotten into the world of the animal by getting so low. You've got the makings of a very strong interaction between the two of them. We kind of are a little obscured by the real action of what's happening in the face, but perhaps the mother-in-law was watching and the guy was just trying to block because he's afraid of getting caught. I would watch little things like this. We've done a lot of things right in this image, so be a little careful. See this rock down here at the bottom, just off center to the right, a little on the hot side. I would consider toning that down a little bit. I would also, and I'm not going to put this next couple of comments in the scoring, but I want you to think about it. The brightest things in this image are things that are in the background. There. I would tone them down a little bit. The other thing I would consider doing in the processing is keeping the background the same degree of brightness and vibrancy that it is, and just increasing the brightness in your main subject. It would stand out better against the background, especially the fact that they're both equal in texture and color and pattern for that matter. 8.
Peekaboo.
If you're going to show me something that's hiding behind things, I think your eye position is about as strong as you're going to get for that type of presentation. They're not really blocked. I think it helps with the story. I would say, though, my 2 biggest comments in regards to this image are: 1, the right side of the owl, which is on the left side of your frame, has a lot of really bright overexposed spots, especially look around here, just at the top before you get into the face. It's very bright. So we have to watch when we take an image, look at our histogram, make sure it's not touching that right side. Otherwise, we have to decrease the exposure. So what I would say is the second thing is the sky in the background changes color. And with this focal length, we're not looking at a far left to right sky. yet it goes from a light color to a dark color very easily. So, you know, something in the sky looks a little odd. I just be a little more cognizant of the processing of those two things. I think would be helpful. 7.
White cabbage moth on marjoram flower.
Okay. White cabbage moth. Green cabbage moth. I understand that these are not pure white, but I do think we have a color cast to this image. But you guys allow being a little more pictorial, don't you? All right, I think it tells a very strong story. I like the proboscis in the flower. That adds the strength to the image. You have a background that's very pleasing, makes your subject stand out. A little nitpicking thing. I cannot see the very bottom of this image. It's not in the scoring, but what I can see is right over here to the facing the other way is something at an edge that without being able to see the bottom, I would probably clone that out. I'm not going to put it in scoring because perhaps it gets wider at the bottom and serves a purpose. I can't see that, but just food for thought. More lenient in this group. Let's give this a 9.
Today's catch.
Good angle of view. You've got some pleasing lighting, a very nice story. You know, the head of the cormorant is a little bit away, but the head of the fish is coming back at me, so I don't find that bothersome at all. I don't think we are really sharp in the fish or the eye of the cormorant, though, and that's the story. To me, it looks like we're sharp right down here. And with that being said, I don't know if that was your autofocus sensor that was activated, but you have to be cognizant that this is further back and at this focal length, depth of field is a real problem. So because of the main subject, of the main point of this being out of focus, I'm going to go to 6.
All right, we have, move some windows out of my way here, hold on. We have 3 9s, so we're going to have to get a first, second, and third out of these. I will bring up the thumbnails and arrow through them, and you can decide which one you like to score what.
Okay, next
So
one.
first, the second image, and then that's your third image.
All right, hold up 1 second if you could.
Mm-hmm.
See, now I can see the bottom of this one, which is interesting. I couldn't see it before, but now I can.
You can see the thumbnails, correct?
No, now I've got a large image on my screen, but I can see the bottom of the actual image, the white border all the way around. I can see that stuff in the bottom left corner that I spoke about.
But you can't see the thumbnails. That's
I can see only the top third of the thumbnails,
interesting.
which I don't need to see the thumbnails right now. Let me see the next one over, please.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I am going to go with number 1 being the first image that you have here.
This
Night
bird?
one. Yep.
Okay.
Number 2, I'm going to go with the stork.
All right. Number 2 is the stork, which makes the butterfly or the moth number 3. All right. Now we have 3 8s, and we need 3 HMs, so they're all HMs. Two. Oop. Four. All right. And now we'll review this contest. Basically, we show honorable mentions, third, second place. The first place we don't show until the end, where you get to pick best to show from.
Okay.
Afternoon Stroll, Susan Ladon, honorable mention. Congratulations, Susan. Innocence, John Purcell, honorable mention. Congratulations, John. Kiss Me Again, Babe, Ed Horniker, honorable mention. Third place, White Cabbage Moth on Marjoram Flower, Ella Baum. Congratulations, Ella. Second place, Wood Stork with Nesting Material, Mary Little. Congratulations.
All right, we're going to move on to the third group. There is 32 images in here.
Now, what do you classify this? This is not your salon. This is like intermediate.
Yes. Yeah, the salon is the next group.
Okay.
We have 34 images, actually 32 images. Just need to fix this. There's going to be a first, second, and third place, and 7 honorable mentions.
Okay.
And there we go.
That'll stop in a minute. I can't turn that off.
Wireless.
Catch me quick.
You know, you've got a very dramatic image here, without a doubt. And everything is in focus. A very pleasing background. You know, I'm looking at it on a small monitor. I have a feeling if this was projected big, I think we're lacking in some detail in this image, though. We don't really have good feather edges throughout most of this image. I know that's because we crop so much, but eight.
Lunchtime.
Very nice environmental shot. I like your angle of view, the scene, good action. In the processing, I think that this image is extremely contrasty. You could see it throughout, the water, the grasses, the bird. And we've also got so much of the bird that is really very, devoid of any kind of detail whatsoever. So I think the exposure is a little bright. I don't really care about the shiny side of the fish. It's very hard to get that into these images. I don't really care about that, but I do feel the bird should have a little bit more. 7.
Roosting before the migration.
You've got a very nice subject here in beautiful light. I will ask a couple of questions. It's the cluster of monarchs that compelled you to take this image. Is there anything that you could do to make the attention stay more on the monarchs in this image? Or is this an image of camouflage? And I don't know that this is an image of camouflage. With that being said, what could you do? Change your depth of field and make that background blow a little bit more out of focus would keep attention on your central cluster of monarchs and their perch. The other thing is, you know, the density of the monarchs, how the lighting falls off, isn't adding as much strength as we could in a cluster. I think it would look more pleasing to my eye if the background was more out of focus and the whole thing didn't become so much on the busy side. 7.
Bad hair day.
You've got beautiful, even light on this. I love the pensive look on the subject looking right at me. Your background looks a little bit odd to me, I will say. If you did change that background, it's looking unnatural. I mean, look at the exact same repetition of pattern right there to right there, and the blotchiness of all of this. So be careful with that. You've used a very shallow selective focus. In fact, the only thing that you really have in focus is that right there. So for this much of the frame to occupy only that little bit of space, I think isn't the strongest of presentation. 6.
Andean cock of the rock.
Very nice placement in the frame. I like the diagonal nature of the perch. The head angle was all very nicely handled. Like I mentioned earlier about the difficulty in shooting in forested areas. You know, you've got most of the wing and the tail showing me no detail whatsoever. So this is an image when you're at least middle tone to darker the middle tone on your subject to throw fill flash on this. I would throw the flash at -1 1/3 for something like this on TTL. 6.
Cabbage white on thistle.
This is the most popular insect in all of cranberry. You know, the rim lighting is kind of interesting. I like the way, you know, the light comes through the wings, the rim lighting, you know, around the head and thorax of your subject. Perhaps a little bit of darkening this area in here would be helpful. 7.
Burrowing owls.
Great placement in the frame. I love the story. I like, you know, the wind blowing those grasses, I think really adds a lot of strength to this. And I'm glad that you've selected an image where the grasses are not obscuring too much of the heads of the owls. You have one eye that's a little obscured. Doesn't bother me. I think it looks great. What I would say, though, is that those eyes, again, look dead. I do think you can pop a little flash in there to just bring this ever so slightly to life. But I do like this image. I'm going to go with a 9.
Pelican landing.
Great wing and foot position, good action. I would like to see you get lower to the ground for these kind of things and bring me more into the world of the pelican. The thing that is working against you the most is the angle of light. is it's the wrong session, whether it be late morning or late mid-afternoon. Your light's coming from behind your pelican, and I think it's making me focus mostly on the water. 6.
Beauty and the Beast.
Quite a few things I like about this image. I like the way you've cropped the flower with some space up here, space over here. And then, fine with not doing the same on the other side. I like the position of the fly at the junctions of the thirds. Very often is the more aesthetically pleasing position to put something. Just breaking this up vertically and horizontally. I'm pointing with my pointer and you can't even see it. This is crazy in Zoom. I'm doing all the stuff that you're missing, but I'm not bothered by the direction of the fly. I think you've got good focus on the fly. I would say that my eye is going to go to the brightest part of this image, and the brightest part is this whole top left corner. I would tone that down a little bit in exposure. I think that would help. 8.
Surfing Seahawk.
All right, very sharp in your shutter speed, great camera angle, good storytelling ability. I like the water droplets coming off of the back of the bird, the fish, and the tip of the beak. Be a little careful in your processing. You have pushed these colors too much. You've saturated the reds too much. I love your image, but I think the color, because of the color change, I'm going to go with an 8.
A little privacy, please.
Then why did you photograph it? The image has tremendous strength. Lighting, processing, color, placement of elements in the frame, all the way down to this little diagonal section right here, I think also works great in framing your image. My only little nitpick on what I would consider is this tail over here in Vivace, just selecting it and just toning down the exposure a little bit so my attention stays everywhere else, which is the most important. Overall, this is still a spectacular image. 9.
Pollinated.
Tells a great story. Lot of strength to this image. I love the lighting. I love your color. I love the story. I love your depth of field. I think it all works really well together. Even though the background is in focus, the color change keeps my attention where you want it. There are one little minor thing I'm going to mention that I'm not going to take a point off for, but if you're going to show me an image this good, and you look at the edges, look at that bottom edge, the leaves go out, go out, go out, and then we got something a little different looking up here. I wonder if we couldn't manipulate this so that it didn't have its own identity in the corner, because I've looked at it a couple of times. My other comment on this is that I do think we've overly contrasty in the flower and the bee. Maybe even over sharpened. Maybe it's just one or the other. It could be a combination of the two. The other thing I would consider doing in the processing is dodging a little bit the bee itself. The bee is a little on the underexposed side. Even the yellow on the back of the the thorax area of the bee is underexposed. Let's be a little more lenient in this category. It's not the salon yet. I'm going to go with a 9. So much strength to it.
Mockingbird with berry.
Quickly, look at this top corner. Do you see how it falls off the light? And even over here, this is not in the scoring, folks, but on an image like this, I like to hit in Photoshop the F key once, the background, not my image, the background goes gray. Hit it a second time, the background goes black, and then this pops out at you. This is an image that would benefit from a thin white border around it so I can clearly see where your image begins and ends. And my mind, when it's projected in club, doesn't think part of your image is starting to disappear and be missing. So just something to think about. I think the lighting on your bird is great. Your exposure is very nice. You can argue for or against fill flash on this to bring a little life to the wings. You know, it would change the presentation a little bit, so let's not score on it, but something to think about. 9.
Skipper on a Mexican sunflower.
If you ever do want to use an image like this for nature, you have to watch your backgrounds. Very unnatural background. Obviously, you're allowing that tonight, but I just want to make sure you're aware of that so you didn't get boxed out of something else. You know, the skipper is on the flower. Is it on the part of the flower where you would have a story? And the answer is, you know, a very weak story. I like its position in the frame if you want to show this much. I am troubled by the stem of the flower right here. It's very bright and it takes away attention. I also am a little bothered by the blotchiness in the background, which you could see through this, you know, whole area, especially up in here, more so than the right side of your image. 6.
Pelican bill.
I think it's cropped very nicely. Look at the angle of the light coming down on it. It's very harsh. That makes it very difficult for you to photograph a subject that is from white to really dark areas like right in here. So time of day, it's really difficult. You still could shoot this time of day if you want to get a little more creative and use some flash. You're not going to put your flash at full power. You're going to put it on TTL. You're going to say, okay, we've got a lot of white and close to white. So I'm going to go up -1 2/3. That would bring this whole section here to life. And it would help greatly. I think you're not quite sharp around the eye either. 6.
I see a fish.
Your depth of field really keeps attention on your subject. You've got a very strong story here. I like your angle of view. A very good storytelling, excellent time to depress the shutter. Is there anything about this image that would give a little bit more strength to it? Well, you know, the lighting is not the best, not terrible. Could you make this bird present even better? If you guys saw that lecture by Charles Glatzer from the Federation put on, he's an expert at this, throwing some flash on subjects like this. Of course, you're gonna have to be on high-speed sync, but you will bring that bird, give it so much more pop and bring it more to life. I think it would be very helpful. 8.
Turn chase.
You know, you're telling a very good story here. Very nice capture. I believe that your focus is sharp. You do not have very good detail at all in this. If you look at the eye, the turn on the top, look at the feathers. I think you have to ask yourself why. Is it a matter of cropping that's doing that? 7.
Where did lunch go?
So compositionally, I think this is very pleasing. I like the little bit of a story being told by the feathers, you know, being a little on the erect side. I think makes the light pass through this. The backlighting looks great in the grasses, and it looks pretty interesting in the bird too. So although this bird has no light, I should say no light, but not much light on the side facing me, I think it looks pretty cool the way it is. Would it look better with a little bit of flash? Try it and see what you like, but I still think it looks nicely this way. I'm going to give this an 8.
Catch but no release.
Very nice story, a pleasing angle of view. I do believe your image is fairly sharp, probably cropped a lot, which is making it a little bit on the soft side. I want to talk to you about the processing. How is the processing? Does that yellow bill look yellow? Does the black on the back of the head look black? Does the dark areas of the water look flat to you? I will argue that this image needs some work with levels and adding some, you know, black point, adding some contrast, and then I'd even add some saturation. So the processing, I think, could be stepped up for this image. Still has a very nice story. Let's give this an 8.
Wise guy.
I find your cropping very nice. It keeps my attention exactly where you want it. Would I add a little bit more space to the left side of your image? I would. I don't think you've killed it by how you've cropped it. You've kind of gotten around the rim of the white feathers, and I think that's sufficient. My personal taste would be to show just a little bit more. I will ask your choice of selective focus. You've got the one eye in focus and a little bit, you know, let me go back to the draw tool. So you have one eye that looks like it's fairly, I'm not even sure the eye is truly the sharpest part of this image. I think it's more in here, in that whole area. The eye is fairly close, if not quite there. You know, this lower lid doesn't look like it's so sharp. If you're going to make this more design elements about the eye, is that the best position for it to be in the frame if that's all it's going to be sharp? If it's going to be the eye and the bill, is the bill sharp? I don't think so. I also look at this background over here. Look at this edge all along here. Follow the edge. It gets very light on the little, you know, the little small follow plumes that are coming out on the side. So perhaps the background is changing a little bit, but then why does the light area kind of follow around the anatomy of the phyllo plumes? The background wouldn't do that. So something looks a little odd. So if we're darkening the background, we have to make sure that we're selecting it with a little more concentration on the edges. And I think it will be helpful. 7.
Cuban Trojan.
Pleasing placement in the frame. It's cropped very well. I like that. Angle of view, it's acceptable. A little up, but I think it's fine. I like the head position. I'm going to ask you again, in the processing, can we have strength in this image? Look at the branches over here. How do they look? These branches down there, overexposed. Look at the coloration throughout the bird. How are the dark area, the close to black areas here? How is the dark areas here, the iridescence in this bird? How about in here? We don't have a strong black point in this image. So the processing is leaving this image on the flat side. So my favorite way to do this is in levels. I'd like to see you make that bird come to life. 7.
Bad hair day.
Absolutely. Your subject is well in focus. We've got a very difficult lighting scenario. If you are out of your vehicle, I don't know if you are, but if you are, you need to reposition yourself so you have the sun behind your back. This image, I think, this particular subject, I feel, is suffering a lot from the side lighting, and that's because it's black in coloration. The light just does not show up in this shaded side. I would constantly ask myself about the backgrounds. How's the background look? Well, in the background, we've got this area that comes from here to here, this diagonal. And with that, I would say that, you know, that's going right through the head. It's very bright below it. We have to tone that down. I'd love to see you eliminate it. How do you eliminate it? Getting lower to the ground. So if you know, this is not like a vicious subject. If you can get out of your, get lower to the ground, I would get lower to the ground. I would consider what's going on back here. Does that help the image or not help the image? If I moved left or right, would that eliminate? So always think about your background. 6.
Green heron.
A very simple image. Your subject stands out very nicely. You know, you're shooting down a little bit. If you got any lower, the grasses would block you out too much. Something looks a little odd in the water. If you look right here, there's a line that comes down and it goes to here. And it's almost like a vertical, like a rectangle. But look behind that, the water changes color only in that one section. Not so sure why. I do think that your image needs a little bit more contrast in it, especially in the bird. It would help. 7.
Out of the mist.
You know, this particular image, I asked myself, is this an image of the wildlife or is this an image of a cityscape with an accent of wildlife? So I know you allow hand of man. I personally think this is pushing it too far. I think the birds become more of an accent piece. And it's, you know, you can make the argument it's partially environmental. I'm not so sure about that. So I struggle with this, but I'm going to do what you told me. I'm going to not disqualify it. I'm going to give this a 7.
Catch of the day.
All right, very pleasing light. I would say that your good story, okay placement in the frame. I would probably put this slightly more to the center, but not quite in the center. I do think that your image is underexposed, and makes it look very flat in the processing. 7.
The hunter.
Great point in time. I would consider a little space in front of it so my mind has a place for it to move into. We do have a little difficulty with the light. We're very bright in certain areas of the bird and very dark in other areas of the bird. You know, and then a lot of darker areas. I don't think we have great fine detail in here, and we've got a lot of noise in the background that I'd love to see you eliminate. 6.
I'm crabby.
Great composition, beautiful background, nice angle of view. I think you've got great color in the image. I think your image is overexposed. Those rocks are darker. This yellow area up here is overexposed. You know, I would probably lighten this up a little bit if you're going to decrease the overall exposure of the image and not just select colors to change. 8.
3 monarchs and a bee.
I think it's very pleasing in a pictorial way. Um, I think the overall balance of the image, there's three things that I struggle with in this image. The first is the overall balance. For me, I think that your image is up in that area. I think the introduction of a butterfly down here, which has poor light and is at an awkward angle, and then this bee that's down here, is giving me, my mind is here, up here, and then it goes down here. And then I go back up here, and I go back up here. And I think it's creating a little viewing confusion. Be careful with exposure. This yellow area right here is overexposed. Some of the brighter spots. Another thing that I'm a little confused about is if you look at your background, it's evenly out of focus everywhere, but now we've got this streaking stuff that just kind of comes in and then disappears within the confines of that circle I just made. You know, what is that? I almost like to see the background be more out of focus, and that would happen if you just zoomed in a little bit more. 7.
Confrontation at Island Beach State Park.
All right, you're telling a very strong story, great point in action. I think your exposure is well handled. Look, I love this foot being off the ground right in here. I got to tell you, if you got lower, you would like this better. These animals will look even more dominant. Still a spectacular image, 9.
Aphrodite fritillary feeding.
3 times fast. Go ahead. Ready, go.
Yeah, I think I got it right.
Okay. You know, overall, it's got a very nice feel to it. We have this, you know, main subject, which is in kind of an not as photographable angle. You know, its wing position, your angle of view makes it a little bit odd. Head is so close to the edge that I feel like it's leading me out of the frame. 7.
Scary owl in flight.
It had to fly right in front of that tree, didn't it? Listen, you press the shutter at a great point in time. Your shutter speed is actually pretty nice. I like the implied motion by the wings. You know, I'm not in love with the tree being right behind the owl. It just happened to fly in this direction. One of the things I always realize is these guys usually take off into the wind, so find out where the wind is and move your body appropriately, and you probably still would wind up with the same scenario. I will say, though, how sharp is the rim around that face? You're kind of close. I think that you don't have good fine detail, but it is fairly, probably in focus. It doesn't have fine detail, though. 7.
Monkey around.
I love the position to frame. I love the look on the monkeys. Lighting is very pleasing. We don't have a lot of good detail in the monkeys. It's starting to look more pictorial. Something doesn't look quite right with the sky. What do I mean by that? The sky is darker in here and lighter in there, unless there's clouds here and they're so out of focus, which is possible. 8.
All right. We have 5 9s. So we're going to need a first, second, and third out of them.
Next. 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 And the last. Okay. Can we go back one? And one more time? Okay. Number 1 of the lizards. Number 2 of the fox. And then if I could see, and the next one, I'm going to go with this one to be as number 3.
So we have the owls as an HM. 1. And the mockingbird is an HM, so that's 2. All right, so now we have 8 8s, and we need 5 of them.
Okay, so we dropped 3. Next. 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 And the last one. Okay. All right. I have 2 of them. I got to figure out what the third I'm going to drop is. Could we go back? Where's same speed? Okay. 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 Next. 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 All right. Oh, I wish I could see this on a bigger screen. I'm going to drop the cormorant. I'm going to drop, I can't see the thumbnails. The 2 apes.
Apes is gone. Okay.
Yeah.
Crabs. This guy.
That guy's going.
Okay.
And the third one is going to, I think I'm going to drop the one that you just had up prior to this one, the heron.
This guy.
Yeah.
All right. So this one's an HM.
Right. Technical difficulty is very high in that, so we're giving that a little bit of an extra boost.
The B, HM. Seahawk, HM. This one's HM. Dropping this one. Dropping this one. This one's an HM. And dropping the monkeys. All right. Now we'll review the contest. And then after we review, we'll have a 5-minute break.
And Matt, after that, I skipped over Terry during the business portion, and he has just a few minutes of something he needs to tell us. How many entries do we have in 4?
It's only 14, so we have
Okay,
time.
so we have plenty of time then.
Yeah. So after the 5-minute break, Terry will be unmuted for that.
Okay, good. Okay. Level 3, honorable mention. Catch Me Quick, Susan Little. Congratulations, Susan. Burrowing Owls, Kathy DeTana. Congratulations, Kathy. Also honorable mention, Beauty and the Beast, Wendy Sisson. Congratulations, Wendy. Surfing Seahawk, Marianne Martin, honorable mention. Congratulations, Marianne. Mockingbird with Berry, Christina K, honorable mention. Congratulations, Christina. I See a Fish, Francisco Gomez, honorable mention. Congratulations to Francisco. I'm Crabby, Sue Fielder, honorable mention. Congratulations, Sue. Third place, Pollinated, Stan Pepka. Congratulations, Stan. And second place, Confrontation at Island Beach State Park, Christina K. Congratulations, Christina.
All right, if anybody wants to unmute themselves, they can. Otherwise, we're going to take a 5-minute break. Starting now. I'll also open up the chat if anybody wants to talk in there. The chat's now open.
Hey, Matt? Matt?
Yeah.
Matt?
Yes,
You can hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, so this is my phone, but on my computer, it's when I tried to join the Zoom, when I joined it, it said, failed to detect your microphone and speaker. Please make sure your devices are properly connected. And then it says test speaker and microphone. So when I do that, I get, do you hear a ringtone? Yes or no? So I put no. Then it comes on speaker 2, same as system, or speaker HP Realtek high definition, or it says output level. I don't know. It says speaker Hewlett Packard Realtek high definition audio, or same as system. The same as system is highlighted. Now speaker with definition, or speaker whatever, Realtek, but it still doesn't work.
Give
So
me a
what
minute.
should
I'll look up some stuff, and after the meeting, we'll see if we can figure it out.
Okay, can you ask Terry too? He might be able to help. I can't, oh, I can chat with him, I guess. Right? Hello? All right, let me get out of here. Sorry.
Lynn, if he's there, you could talk to him now. But
Who's that?
it's Vicky. He's muted.
I'm having a hard time. You know about computers, right?
A little.
Did everybody hear that? Hear what I just said?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
What do you?
I get that, miss?
Retest it with both of the speakers.
I did what? Say that again?
Retest it with both of the speakers.
How do I do that? How do I
Test it
retest?
with one and test it with the other one.
Oh, I did that. You mean the real
Test it
tech
with
would be,
both?
I've done that.
How
And nothing,
many speakers do you have there? Just two?
just the two. You know, the last time I did Zoom last week, I used my phone because I was in my car. So could that be the problem? Am I
No,
on,
but your
like,
computer doesn't know you did that.
no?
The computer doesn't know you cheated on it with your phone.
Oh, so I don't know what to do. What should I do?
Stay with Matt after the meeting and try to work on it.
All right. So I'm gonna, I just want to tell
It's not
Terry.
gonna last that much longer, so just stay on your phone.
Yeah, I am. Oh, can you do me, oh, you know what? Vicki, is there any way you can get in touch with my brother? Because I was using his phone. He was holding his phone by his computer for me. I don't need him to do that anymore.
Okay.
I just wanted him to know I'm using my own phone.
He should be able to hear you now, Lynn. He's online.
Oh, okay. Oh, you mean everybody's hearing this conversation?
Yes.
Yep.
They're
Okay.
muted, but that doesn't mean they can't hear. That means they can't talk.
Okay. All right, I'm gonna ask Terry to stay on.
Thank you for not saying bad things about the judge.
Phil,
Yeah, right.
you can hear me. I wouldn't say
Phil?
a word.
Is this Phil?
Yes.
Hi, Phil. I didn't get a chance to say hello to you because I had no sound.
Oh, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm all right. You know, while we got a
Good.
free second, is Francesco able to speak with us right now?
Francisco?
Francisco.
If he unmutes himself.
Yeah.
Francisco,
I'm here.
unmute.
Lynn, I
Yes?
just got back on. Can you hear me?
I can, Terry.
Phil,
Okay, what I would do is, I can't figure out from what you said what's wrong, but what I would do is test out, does your sound work on anything else? If you bring up YouTube, can you play a video and have sound? Can you play a movie?
All right, let me see. I'm gonna have to leave here. So don't start the meeting.
No, Lynn,
What?
it's probably too much work to do it now in this short amount of time, but those are the
All right.
things I would try afterwards, or maybe
Okay.
after the meeting, okay?
Are you gonna go on afterwards just for, because Matt was gonna help me and I can
Yeah,
do that after.
I'll stay on, but
Okay.
the first thing you want to do is see if the speakers are working, if they work in
Okay.
any other application. So go to YouTube and play a video, see if you hear it.
Okay. Okay, I'll do it right after we, we're done. Thanks,
Yeah.
Terry.
Joel, you were asking for me?
Yes. Your Pelican shot. I just wanted to, since we have a couple of minutes, I want to talk about that a little bit. You took that in the Gulf of Mexico?
No, that was actually in Florida.
Yeah, Florida.
I
but
mean,
on the Gulf side.
on the East Coast, yeah.
On the East Coast?
Yes.
Wow, that water was really still for the East Coast.
Yeah, well, it was right on. It was on this place on Port St. Lucie. There was a small bay there, so there was.
Oh, okay. So you're in a bay.
And they were fishing like crazy there.
Right. You know, and what focal length did you use?
That was actually, I didn't have my regular camera. I used a small Sony kind of point and shoot camera that goes up to 200 millimeters. So I was using 200.
You know, when I go to the beach with the family, I always pack my 70 to 200 with me. I keep it in a bag that doesn't look like a camera bag, and it's mixed in with like the food, so nobody knows it's there. And I usually would take photos of the kids once the light got really good. But every once in a while, something dramatic would start to happen in the middle of the day, and I'd have to take my camera out. The problem is once I take it out, if we go into the water, someone's always got to stay behind because now people know I have it.
Right.
But when the water's that still, if the light's not coming from the most pleasing angle, if it's not too deep, I would get in the water. If you don't have waves like that, you can get in the water up to mid-chest.
I was in the water. I was in that shot. I was in the water.
You were in the water.
Up to my up to my stomach.
Oh, okay. Because I've done that. Just get more to the side so you get a little bit of a, advantage of light. And I'm glad to see you're not afraid to get in that water and do that.
Yeah. It was fun because it was like there were like 100 pelicans fishing in there. There was a whole. I mean, it was so much commotion that I had to take that camera out and do something.
Right.
I didn't have my own.
Right. No, that's why I always bring that 70-200 just in case. It's fairly light and not too big because you never know what you're gonna find.
Yeah, believe me, I learned.
Shot.
Yeah. Thank you for saying that. Yeah.
Got it.
All right, Terry, you want to give your little spiel?
Yeah. Let's see. Okay, I'm okay. I'm unmuted, right?
You're unmuted, yes.
All right, I just wanted to cover a couple of things quickly. I know it's getting late. We got results back from the pictorial NJFCC for fall. Just very quickly, I'll do an email blast on everything I'm covering now. But we had, out of the 25 people that entered, we had 5 winners. We had 5 honorable mentions. Tam Zagret got an honorable mention in creative. And myself, Stan, and Susan, we got honorable mentions in the open. So I'll be doing that. What I'm also going to be doing after the nature is over, I'll have a pretty good supply of ribbons at my house because they sent them all to me. I'm going to contact everybody who, I'll do an email blast. And if you send me your address, I'll start sending out the ribbons because I got them from a ways back. Second thing is, this will be covered in an email blast, but you may want to go now. The New Jersey Federation of Camera Clubs has a YouTube channel, okay? It's called just that, NJ Federation of Camera Clubs. If I'll cover, for those of you who don't use YouTube that much, what you should do. But if you do use YouTube, all you got to go is go into YouTube and search on New Jersey Federation of Camera Clubs channel. And then all their videos will come up. Now, they got 4 right now. The reason I'm mentioning this right now is one might be very important to you. The first one is a 2.5 hour where the judges were judging the pictorial. That can be good for 2 reasons. If you had images in there, you didn't win anything, you can hear what the judge said. Even if you didn't put images in there, it's always a little iffy. What does creative mean? What does open mean? And you can hear them talking about the images, and maybe that'll give you some input, as well as the winners hearing what they said about you. So don't forget, New Jersey Federation of Camera Clubs. Go into YouTube, search on New Jersey Federation of Camera Clubs channel. That way, all their videos will come up. They got 4. They got one on hunts. They got one on new judge introduction. And what is the other one on? Oh, how to use something for promotional fundraising. You can read that. The third thing I want to cover real quick is the New Jersey Federation of Camera Clubs now has a meetup group, okay? And we can possibly use their meetup group, but the first thing you want to do is become a meetup member and join their meetup group. Now, if you don't know what I'm saying right now because you've never used a meetup, that's going to be in an email blast. But for those of you who do know how to join a meetup, go in there and join the New Jersey Federation of Camera Clubs, and you'll get a lot of information on any kind of anything they're holding, any kind of educational things. There's even some discussion between the members and the clubs. So that's going to be something for the future for all of us. The YouTube channel and the meetup group, the NJFCC. And like I said, if you're not sure about a meetup group, I'm going to put together some instructions. That's it.
All right. Give me a minute and I will mute everybody, and then I will unmute the people we need unmuted. All right, you should be unmuted, Debbie.
Okay.
All right, moving on. We're on to the salon group now. We have 14 images. We'll score this, and then you'll have to do best of show after. Let's make sure that. All right. We're all set.
Just relaxing.
Beautiful light, nice use of color. I will say we do not have very good detail in the bird. I'm not even sure it's totally in focus. Seven.
Grasshopper and ladybug.
All right, very pleasing placement of elements in the frame. I like the diagonal nature of the grasshopper, the intent look toward the direction of the ladybug. I like how your background goes out of focus. Your depth of field, once you get past, let me get the draw tool. Once you get past here, everything to the left of this is out of focus. So I think a little more depth of field would be helpful for this image. 8.
This is my good side.
You know, you've got great light on your subject since it's all black. The extra light really helps. I do think your image is a little overexposed, though, even in the black part of the bird. The background on the ground, I don't think really serves a purpose. In order to eliminate it, you either have to get a little bit lower, and you're already a little on the low side for the head as it is. I would probably consider zooming in or getting closer and making this more of a portrait. I think that would be helpful. I just feel like it's very, very bright on the bottom, and it takes away a little bit. 7.
Keeping clean in Jaipur.
Tells a very nice story. I think you've composed it in a very pleasing way. I do feel that your conversion to black and white is making the image background and subject compete, since they're now the same busy pattern, same tonal range. I don't think your subject is standing out as nicely against the background as it would in color. I also think that your choice of conversion to black and white could be maximized to bring some more life to the overall presentation of this image. 6.
2 for lunch.
very nice interaction between the two. I really like a separation of this guy here and this down here. You know, and even what's in here. So you depress the shutter at a great point in time. You've got a very nice exposure on this guy. Yeah, you can argue maybe tone this down a little bit. You can also argue leaving it the way it is. I would probably consider adding a little bit more light into, you know, into this, and that would be just done post-processing. I wouldn't throw flash on this. I think it's fine the way it is. 8.
The bull.
We've got a very pleasing light, an overall nice scene. Couple things about it. I feel like the presentation of the male is a little static, being horizontal like that. We've taken this image when we've got this tree trunk going right through the head. I'd like to see you reposition yourself or wait till this guy moves a little bit so you can get a little cleaner background. I'm also going to ask, you know, why the inclusion of, you know, the second animal right here. Does it help the image? Is it adding to the story? I don't think it is. So, you know, again, repositioning yourself, wait until they move a little bit would be helpful. Cropping in a little bit could also be done. It wouldn't solve this tree issue. 7.
Peaceful evening.
Okay. Overall, this has a very pleasing feel to it. Very interesting light. There are a couple things about this image that are a little hokey to me. One is, where is this light coming from? Way in the background, as you can see right here, right? That's your light source. And when you look at this subject, this giraffe in the foreground, it is a little bit lighter on this side and a little bit darker on this side, which is very similar to what this could potentially look like, except for we are a little brighter in the rump on the right side than I would expect from a light source coming all the way back there. So the next thing is, now we have another giraffe that's right here, and that is front lit. So either you got a really big reflector that's not touching this giraffe, or we're putting together a composite of images or something that makes this look very odd. Even the leaves are backlit here, and they're front lit here. So, you know, that looks really weird. If you look at your horizon line, you've got an even, very odd look all the way across the image, if you follow it all the way across. So, you know, this looks very processed to me. I'm going to go with a 6.
Majestic male anhinga.
Pleasing placement in the frame, very nice lighting. I would argue head position is, it's nice. It's nice. Most of the black part of this anhinga, which is more than 50% of it, has no detail whatsoever. So we really have to watch our exposure with something like this. What could you do? If you opened up your exposure, you would blow out the light colors around the eye, the bill, and here. So let's say, for all intents and purposes, you can't just move your histogram more to the right and open up the exposure, because you're going to destroy your image. So what else could you do? Fill flash. Pop a little flash to bring some light to those dark tones. How much would you do? TTL, you're going to say, well, I've got a fair amount of white feathers in this, so I don't want too much. I would take a picture at -1 1/3, and then look at your blinkies on the camera and see if those white feathers are popping up or not. If they're not, then you can do the rest in Photoshop. as it is, I'm going to go with a 7.
Monarch caterpillar.
All right, very nice subject. Very nice story that's going on. The caterpillar is perpendicular to the sensor or film plane as we're used to seeing it back in the day. So it's going to make your depth of field present the caterpillar very nice. We've got a lot of other things going on in the image that are detracting attention, whether it be these bright stems here, you know, this one here that kind of comes across. You did painstakingly make sure you have a little space right there, but could we clean up this image? And if you want to take some control over your scene, I would say absolutely you could. You've got a bright spot in the background. You can control your background if you wanted to. You can put a little flat painted, you know, 2x2 piece of cardboard held behind it to make your background what you want. You can cut this branch off right here. You can cut that off. Are you going to kill this particular plant? I doubt it. It depends on how you want to be. Could you just pick up this caterpillar and take another branch in front of a background you want, put the caterpillar on it, and then wait till it starts to move and do its thing again and take a picture? How aggressive do you want to get? These are all things that I got to tell you, most of the people out there that are getting dramatic images are doing. So it's something to think about. As it is, I think the background competes a little too much with your subject. 7.
Coyote.
All right, placement in the frame is very nice. It has a nice environmental feel to it. You know, the lighting is, you know, it's fair. I do think we could probably dodge and burn this a little bit. I think the shade side could be opened up a little bit and the lit side could be toned down a little bit. I think that would help. 7.
Fox in the snow.
You know, the even lighting really helps when you get vegetative background. It also brought into a usable tonal range for your sensor the white snow and the black fur just above the paws on the lower part of the leg. I do think you processed this very well. You've cropped it very well. Very nice job. I ask, why do we have a white border around it and then a white line just outside of that only on one side? Is that the maker's doing, or is that the way this image is projecting? I haven't seen it on any other image. Is that on your screen?
I'm seeing it. I have no idea what it is.
Okay. Now listen, maker, you have to ask yourself, the purpose of the white line is just so the viewer knows where your picture begins and where it ends, and let the full merit, especially in the nature category, be on your image itself. So, you know, that stands out, looks like an error. I'm not going to take a point off for a border, but I just want to mention that. 9.
Just a nibble.
You know, one of the things I liked about this is that the maker left more space on the right than the left, because the chipmunk leads to an imbalance in the overall image. So if you're going to show it more to the right on the edge where you're going out, the extra space over there, I think, brings it all back into light. You've got very nice pop and processing on the chipmunk, and you've elected to kind of flatten the processing on the background, which I think is fine for your rules that you have here. I look at your edges around the far edge of the log, and something doesn't look quite right to me. If I look over here on the right side, that edge doesn't look quite right. If I look on the left side, right in there, there's a bright halo going down the side of the log. And if I look at the edges up in here, something doesn't look quite right. In fact, I can see it throughout the whole thing. So whatever you did with the true background, not the log itself, as you approach the log, I think a little more care on that edge would be helpful, as it is 8.
Canadian roadblock.
You know, your title, I think, says a lot. Correct? Canadian roadblock. I think I would get more of a sense of the roadblock and truly what's happening by seeing this extending the, maybe more of a square format or a horizontal format. I think would add to the story. As it is, we're kind of clustering these 3 animals together is where there's a little more separation in them at one point or another to take a better postural image. The inclusion of something starting on the left side of the frame right here, just, starting to peek its way in. Would I clone that out and get rid of that? All things to think about. 7.
Bashful zebra.
I like the position in the zebra very much. I like the way the light hits the zebra. You've elected to decolorize your image, which is allowed by what you're telling me. I am not in love with the fact that we've got this log in the front that's blocking everything, and I know there's nothing you can do about it, but if you wait a little bit longer, the zebra's in a different location. I think it would add strength to an overall competition quality image. Something, again, your background manipulations are losing a lot of points tonight. Look at the background. Look at the background right there. We didn't take it all the way in. Look at the background right here. Follow it around the whole mane. You can see the edge that's going on. Look at it over here. Face the arrow backwards. You can see the background is manipulated all the way around. So, it might not be a bad idea for you guys to have a little tutorial or something on backgrounds. Someone in the club is very good at changing backgrounds or altering backgrounds. It might be helpful for everybody else to have something on that. 7.
All right, we have 1-9, so that's going to be first place. And we have 3 8s, so I need a second and third from here.
Next. Next. Okay. Let's go back again. This is second. Can I see the other 2? Okay, this is going to be 3.
All right, now we have 8 7s, and I need 2.
Okay. Next. 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 And next. All right. We have to pick 2 more.
Yes.
Okay, can you go backwards now?
Yep.
Okay. 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 All right. All right. I'm going to go with this image,
This one? Okay.
and I'm going to go with the coyote.
And the coyote. All right. And we'll review this contest, and then I'll put together the best of show, and you get to pick from that.
Level 4. Honorable mention. Just Relaxing, Lynn Podby. Congratulations, Lynn. Grasshopper and Ladybug, honorable mention, Greg DeAngelis. Congratulations, Greg, and I know where you took that. Coyote, Linda DeAngelis, honorable mention. Congratulations, Linda. Third place, Just a Nibble, that's me, Debbie Aniano. And second place, Two for Lunch, is also mine.
All right, give me a minute, and I'll put together the best of show competition.
I tell you, what's great for me tonight is instead of driving home for an hour, I'm going to eat chicken cutlets.
It's the best part, right?
This is the best part. Well, at least there'll be peace in the DeAngelis household tonight. If one would have won and not the other, oh boy.
All right. So this is the best of show, the 3 groups, first place winners. And you have to pick the best one.
Next. Next. Next, go back to the other one. And then the last one. All right, you have 3 images that I love. I did have a little something to say about each one of them. This one I didn't say it, but I think the bright spots in the snow are just a tad hot. But still 3 awesome images. So now I'm going to go to technical ability, pictorial nature, storytelling. I think that the lizards have, the lizard and the heron have great storytelling. Pictorial ability, I think the lizards have an edge. I'm going to go with the lizards as first place.
All right. And now we'll review this contest.
And this is the best of show. And let's see, this is level 4. Fox in the Snow, Linda Heath. Congratulations, Linda.
And we'll see if we can find Linda and unmute her.
You could probably just unmute everybody at this point. Make it easy on you.
I see her.
You're
There you
unmuted.
go. She's unmuted.
Yep, can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay.
Want to tell us about your fox?
Oh, this fox evidently was hungry, but I had no food, but he came right up to me and sat down in front of me, and I was sitting on the ground. So we had a staring contest. It's kind of nice.
Very nice.
And
that-
Phil, there is no spots in that snow. I made sure every single one of them had some, design in it.
All right, it may
Where
just the way,
where was that, Linda?
just the way it's projecting.
It's at Island Beach State Park too.
Okay.
Recent or a couple years ago?
A couple of years ago, right? In the snow. Yeah.
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 Okay. Very nice.
Before
It's
the
nice
main.
to go when it's snowing because there was nobody else there really to kind of get in your way.
Okay, and from level 2, the first place winner, Yellow Crown Night Heron Wingspan, Mary Little. Congratulations, Mary.
Unmute Susan. You're unmuted, Susan.
This is Mary, not Susan. Oh,
Uh-huh.
Mary's with Susan.
Not sure, but that's the only little name I have. Somebody's messaging me. Hold on. Unmute Tam. Okay. Tam, you're unmuted.
Okay. I don't know if this is working, but
We can hear you, Tam.
okay, good. Mary's here.
Oh, hi, this is Mary. Well, I think the best thing I can say about this is that it's from Ocean City at the Rookery on the Causeway. And in order to get this light, you have to get up before daylight, but it really is beautiful.
Beautiful photo. Thank you, Mary. Very, very nice.
Thank you to the judge.
Wonderful photo.
Excellent. And our best to show is
Sue Fielder from level 3. A little privacy, please. Congratulations, Sue.
Yeah, every morning it was taken in Hawaii, and every morning I would go out and take the lizards. But the one day I caught these guys behind the leaf.
You definitely caught them.
Yeah. And then they ran away within 2 seconds.
Wow.
Are they wrestling?
I don't know, but I don't think so.
Beautiful. Congratulations.
Hey, Sue, I thought you said you never win.
Well, occasionally somebody misses. I thought the birds would win.
It's a very nice image.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
All right, I'm going to make it so anybody can unmute themselves. And if you want to stay after the meeting and talk, that's fine as well.
Thank you, Phil, very much for judging for us. It's a good education experience, I think, for a lot of us.
Well, thank you very much. But if you're being nice to me because you want me to wait for you to come over for the chicken cutlets, they'll be gone by the time you get here. You're too far away. I miss seeing everybody in person.
And we miss seeing you, Phil.
Yeah. So soon. Hopefully this is behind us.
Someday.
You can
Anybody?
still do that hour drive to Cranberry and we'll go out and wave at you.
Through the window, right? Through the window.
Yeah. Through the window.
Oh, boy.
So it's too tough.
All right. Anybody have any questions for me or yell at me? No?
No.
All right. Well, thank you, everybody, for the honor to speak about your images.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks
All
for
right.
coming,
Have a great
Phil.
night.
Thanks, Phil.
You too.
Night.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.